Even more fires are burning across the West, including one in famed Zion National Park.
It makes you really nervous, especially the dry conditions.
Why is this hurricane season off to a slower than expected start?
Right now, the biggest inhibitor of development is that Saharan air layer. That'll be something to watch here as we move forward.
We'll take a closer look at the report that sharks are testing positive for cocaine.
We should be concerned about cocaine sharks off the coast of Brazil.
And the lightning strike that turned a pool fence electric.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. California's Park Fire is now the state's largest wildfire this year. It has burned more than 164,000 acres. To put that in perspective, that's a little bit bigger than the city of Chicago. It's burning in Northern California, north of Chico. That's about 140 miles or so northeast of San Francisco. Now, getting a fire this big under control is not easy. Right now, it's just around 3% contained. Firefighters are coming in from across the state to help. Evacuation orders have been issued for thousands of people in portions of 2 counties. That includes the town of Paradise, site of the deadliest fire in California history. So far, the damage is extensive and will likely get much worse. There is little left of communities that were burned. What makes matters even worse is that this fire was not caused by lightning. Police say it was started by a man who allegedly pushed a burning car down an embankment. He's now being held without bond. And this time-lapse video right here just shows how fast the flames are spreading. So-called fire tornadoes have formed, with flames shooting up to 100 feet in the air. Here's another view from a satellite as well. You can see how the fire continues to get bigger and all that smoke is creating. Anna Montemore spoke to residents about the growing fire.
You know, everyone's in a panic.
Butte County locals left shaken up as the view of the Park Fire sits a little too close to home.
We saw the smoke, and so Mom and I, she's here visiting, we decided to go to Safeway, go get gas. It was utter chaos.
Smoke filled North Chico after the fire sparked in Upper Bidwell Park on Wednesday afternoon, growing quickly north into Tehama County and scorching thousands of acres.
It's scary. It's really scary.
Have you seen a fire this close to you before?
No, not this close.
Lisa Bruzza is one of the many locals I spoke with who all say it has them double checking their evacuation zones, checking in on their neighbors, and preparing for what could happen next. Evacuation warnings and orders were issued in both Butte and Tehama counties due to the spread of the fire.
My sister lives up in Cohasset, and she came down, finally evacuated, got smart, left, but it's scary. It's really scary.
Upper Bidwell Park was established in 1905, historically known for being home to the Bidwell Golf Course, Horseshoe Lake, and acres of public land. But now locals say they worry about what this can mean for the forest health of the park. Those in the Chico area say they are staying vigilant as fire personnel work to contain the park fire.
But everybody just needs to stick together and, get your waters and get everything and help your neighbors and
Well, lightning sparked a wildfire this week in Utah. Now, people living near Zion National Park are worried about their own safety. Liv Kelleher is outside the park in southern Utah with that story.
Ken Cornelius's family has owned land inside Zion National Park for nearly 100 years. To lose that land to wildfire?
Oh, it would be devastating. I mean, the loss of the trees and, buildings and whatnot would be devastating.
When he spotted smoke near his cabin, he hopped in his car, got as close as he could, and took these pictures along the way.
We seen the smoke jumpers jumping out of the airplane, and so we got nervous because they were so close.
While many fires in Utah are caused by human error, this one near Kolob Terrace Road happened naturally.
We do believe that this was caused by a lightning strike, but at the same time, we want to ensure that folks know it's really dry out there, it's really hot. All of these conditions, we want to be really, really careful as we're out on our public lands.
With conditions like these, putting it out quickly is crucial to stopping any more growth.
We've got really windy conditions too as well, and that on top of rugged terrain, dry terrain, hard to get to, we really need to be careful and understand where those fires can start and how they can spread so quickly.
One of Canada's most popular national parks has been devastated by a fast-moving wildfire. Reports indicate that half of the town of Jasper may be destroyed. Around 25,000 people evacuated Jasper National Park in the town Monday night due to these wildfires. So far, there have been no reported deaths, but there are about 176 wildfires currently burning in Alberta, with officials saying the majority of them were caused by lightning. Air quality across the West continues to be poor due to all of those wildfires. The worst air today is expected to be in eastern Oregon and southern Idaho, including Boise. It is categorized as unhealthy, but as this map shows us, there are some air quality alerts from northern Washington state all the way to Phoenix and then El Paso. Western Montana is recovering after a severe storm blew through, leaving behind a wake of damage from fallen trees to widespread power outages. And the storm's fury was shocking.
At first, it was just howling winds, and then the trees were crackling and snapping. And honestly, it sounded really like someone was just snapping spaghetti.
Our team coverage begins with Dominic Vitiello in Missoula County.
It just rolled in within a number of minutes. They were having dinner and they had to retreat to the basement to find safety.
We're so scary that is only one spot we can do is right now.
And it is just pile after pile of wood, which seems to be never ending. All these trees are over 100 years old, they say, and they watch them snap like toothpicks due to these high winds.
Everybody's kind of in a hard way.
It's not an uncommon story after Wednesday's storm. Virtually every street is dealing with its own crisis. A tree fallen, power line down, sidewalks torn apart. Some lost power in the middle of the night and are still dealing with the outage. The county is saying citizens should conserve water because backup generators are being used to move water around.
It's going to take a while to get full power restoration throughout Missoula County.
The Paris Olympics officially begin today. The opening ceremonies are set to kick off in a couple of hours from now. This year will be unique because it's taking place not in a stadium, but rather along the Seine River. Meteorologist Jordan Evans looks at how the weather could be a factor.
The 2024 Summer Olympics starting tonight at 7:30 local time, Paris, France. Now the models are suggesting some showers in the area for the opening ceremony. Temperatures falling into the mid-60s once we get through 11 o'clock local time. That'll be about 4 to 5 p.m. here on the East Coast. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans.
Well, it's been a slow start to the hurricane season, but that doesn't mean we are not at risk for seeing some dangerous and also potentially deadly storms in the weeks ahead. Meteorologist Evan Chikvera has more.
Well, it's no secret this Atlantic tropical season is expected to be above average in terms of the amount of storms and potentially intensity. You look at the forecast from Colorado State. No, we've talked about this, both forecasting above average. Now, if we look at the Atlantic Basin, so far, just 3 named storms. Here we are at late July, and that's fairly unusual, albeit Beryl was a very strong hurricane. As we take a look at some of the facts that we know right now, there's only been 6 named storms in the northern hemisphere. So that's not including just the Atlantic, but the Pacific as well. That's the lowest number of named storms. That's 39 miles an hour or higher since 1969. But here's what we know about 1969. That produced Camille, one of the most devastating hurricanes of all time. And we still have a long ways to go to put that into perspective. Let's look ahead to August. Where do we typically see formation in August? Well, we're getting later into the year, and so you start to expand that development region all the way out into the central Atlantic, all the way up the Gulf Stream. Also, it is much more likely that we see development here in the Gulf, in the Caribbean. There's plenty to watch. Right now, the biggest inhibitor of development is that Saharan air layer. That'll be something to watch here as we move forward.
And here's something you don't see every day: sparks shooting out of a fence. Here's what happened. Lightning struck a tree in this North Carolina neighborhood. The electricity from that bolt then traveled through the ground from the tree to the metal fence surrounding the pool. That essentially turned the fence electric, which explains, all the sparks you're looking at here. And check this out right here. A rock that was just analyzed by NASA's Perseverance rover possibly has biosignature. That means the composition of the rock could have a biological origin. Scientists say the rock does not prove there was life on Mars, but there is potential because it has features of what living things would have been left behind several billion years ago. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll hear why sharks in Brazil are testing positive for cocaine, and we'll help you better understand the dangers of rip currents.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with Look at the Northeast. We have a beautiful stretch of weather on the way in the Northeast with a lot of sun, low humidity, and comfortable temperatures. We should be in the 80s for highs this afternoon. Notice the lack of clouds out there. It's a day filled with sunshine. There'll be a stiff northwest wind. You'll feel that wind gusting probably around 20 miles per hour. Now, as we go into Saturday, more of the same should be expected. Both Saturday and Sunday will feature temps in the upper 70s and 80s. Notice we're coolest at the coastline thanks to a sea breeze.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. We're nice and dry through your Friday. Not going to see anything but a few clouds to start the day, really. Much of the rainfall that we saw in the last few days is long gone behind a cold front. Staying dry over the weekend, too. Temperatures will be cooler along with lower humidity. Highs will be in the upper 70s to even the mid-80s, but Saturday will be a few degrees warmer. Still in the upper 70s across the mountains, but looking closer to the coast, mid to upper 80s.
I'm meteorologist Vetus Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs for the day. Raleigh right around 82 degrees, 87 in Charleston, 88 in Mobile, 86 in Birmingham, looking at 89 in Jacksonville, 92 in Tampa, 91 West Palm. Looking at a few spotty showers and thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon. Daily heating will help, so a little convection. So you're seeing spotty across parts of Tennessee and the Carolinas. A little bit of sun during the afternoon in Atlanta and down through Georgia, but you get to Florida looking at a few spotty showers through the day.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
This lobster caught off New Hampshire's coast is a rare find, like 1 in 100 million, according to the Seacoast Science Center. It's called the cotton candy lobster because of its coloring resembling the sweet treats. These raccoons found quite the catch in a Nashville bird feeder. And in Boise, something you don't see every day, tumbleweeds bumbling along in the rain.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
This week, social media has been abuzz with news related to science, from flying debris and pillars of steam in Yellowstone to drug-using sharks. To separate fact from fiction, Emily Gracie spoke with an expert to gain insight into these trending videos of the week, starting with that explosion in Yellowstone National Park.
Not a volcanic eruption. There's no magma involved. This was what's called a hydrothermal explosion. It's all about water. So what happens is there are these shallow reservoirs in Yellowstone. Everybody's familiar with their hot springs and thermal pools. Well, there are these chambers underground, pretty shallow, that hold water, and they are at boiling or almost boiling temperature, so they're already very hot. And you can get things that happen like a drop in pressure, and it triggers the water to flash right to steam. And it creates an explosion, and they can be very powerful. And it shoots water, steam, rocks, mud, all up into the air. And that's what people saw in Yellowstone this week.
Okay, next up, these humpback whales off the coast of New Hampshire. We see them kind of jump up and just like crash onto this boat.
You know, whales breach. And in fact, we're not quite sure why they breach. It could be some form of communication. It could be to get parasites off their body. It could be literally a form of play. But I can say that it had nothing to do with the boat being there.
So then something that sounds even scarier are these sharks that have cocaine in their system. Can you address to me if we should be concerned about cocaine sharks off the coast of Brazil?
Yes, they did detect minor amounts of cocaine in the sharks' organs that were living in very shallow coastal waters off of Brazil. And so, according to the paper, it's because there are a high number of users of cocaine in the area, and it gets put into the water system and gets into the sharks and maybe the food that they're eating.
Okay, so the headline definitely bigger than the story on that one.
Yes. Well, come on. Who could resist cocaine sharks? But I will say, on a more serious note, it is indicative of drugs that we as humans use getting into the water systems around us and getting into, into the animals, accumulating in the animals. And that's not a good thing.
Another summer weekend means there are a number of opportunities to get out and really enjoy the weather at festivals across the country. We asked 3 of our meteorologists to share this weekend's big events in their hometowns and how the weather may actually have some sort of impact.
Well, it's a big weekend of festivals in southern New England. The Newport Folk Fest dates back to 1959, and it's rare to get 3 days of beautiful weather, which we're expecting here in southern New England. Look at this. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Newport, Fort Adams, 90 performances on 5 stages. Temperatures close to 80 degrees. The humidity levels are low. There's not a lot of shade in Newport, certainly not at Fort Adams. Sunblock is needed. Looks like a great stretch of weather.
Happy Friday. I am meteorologist Jeff Porter. I want to get you ready for the Kalamazoo Blues Fest Saturday, 2024 edition at Arcadia Creek Festival Place. We start at 12 o'clock with the Out of Favor Boys. Your email receipt is your ticket. Sunshine, 78 degrees, all the way up to 86. At 6 o'clock, we're recognizing 30 years of the Kalamazoo Valley Blues Association. Lawn chairs encouraged and permitted. 70 at 12 o'clock when everything ends. And that will be ending with Little Ed and the Blue Imperials. Weather should be fabulous. We hope you enjoy it.
The Ohio State Fair began on Wednesday. It continues through August 4th. There were more than 1 million visitors last year. This year we have nearly 7,000 competition classes. And if you like the food, there are more than 140 vendors and 70 deep fried options. So delicious. And there are 70 rides on the midways this year. So for this weekend, Saturday, temperatures are going to be in the upper 80s. The humidity stays kind of low. Sunday warms up to 91 degrees with a chance of showers before the fair closes for the day. And on Monday, even with a few showers and thunderstorms, there's still plenty of indoor activities to enjoy. So come on down to Columbus and we'll see you at the fair.
And many of you may actually choose to spend your weekend at the beach. Rip currents are a risk when swimming in the ocean. West Palm Beach reporter Kara Duffy has more on how to spot those rip currents and how to stay safe if you are caught in one.
It's a danger we hear about all the time living in Florida. And one that lifeguards train for, rip currents. Martin County Ocean Rescue Chief Ian Mongela says knowing what a rip current is and how it forms will make one easier to spot.
The water will find the deepest point possible, usually some sort of break in the sandbar, and that water will rush through that break in the sandbar, creating that rip current.
There are a few characteristics of rip currents you may be able to spot before even stepping foot in the water.
Typically, those places that the rip currents are forming actually look very calm. So their waves won't be breaking. The waves will look like they will try to break, but then they won't. And you can almost look at the surface and see water moving in the opposite direction over top of those waves. You may see a discoloration in the water. So if the water is kind of a bluish green, that rip current may actually have more of a brown color to it because it's pulling sediment out.
And if you do get caught in one, the most important thing is to stay calm. Try to float in the water, as fighting the current will only wear you out.
Try to swim parallel to shore as soon as possible to get yourself out of that rip current and see if you can spot where waves are breaking. That may be where the shallow sandbar is, and you can get yourself from the deep channel that may be about 6 or 7 feet to the shallow sandbar that might be just about 2 or 3 feet where you can stand.
Some other ways to protect yourself: only swim at lifeguarded beaches. Pay attention to the color of the flags posted and know what they mean. Yellow, medium hazard; red, high hazard; and a double red flag means water is close to the public.
Summer means heat, but sea breezes can cool things down along coastal areas. Meteorologist Lana Foss explains more about how they work.
During the summer, inland areas are notably warmer than coastal areas, while being cooler once the sun sets. This is due to the sea breeze. Let us investigate what a sea breeze is, how it works, and its role in creating storm systems inland from coastal areas. Since the ocean can absorb the heat from the atmosphere, the air above is cooler and denser. The air over the ocean moves to land and makes the mass of warm air rise since it's much lighter than the cooler air mass. This allows temperatures near oceans to cool. Inland areas, however, are not as lucky. The ground cannot absorb the heat like the ocean can. Instead, the heat radiates off the first ground layer and is returned to the air. When cooler air pushes warm air upwards, the resulting temperature change can cause other weather patterns to change as well. The movement of the warm and cool air masses plays a part in the formation of a sea breeze front. The sea breeze front are small and calm. If there are bigger atmospheric disturbances, however, a sea breeze front can quickly develop severe weather conditions. There is plenty of science to be explored that is behind the temperature differences between inland and coastal areas, in addition to how they affect the atmosphere around us.
And time now for a short break, but first we fly over. Look at that right there, Coney Island, Brooklyn.
Good Friday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. A lot of the Midwest staying dry for today to start off your weekend here, or at least the extended weekend. Got a little bit of rain down in the Ozarks area, but we'll see a little bit more rain down in the Missouri neck of the woods on Saturday. Got a few thunderstorms to the north as temperatures crank up a little bit more for your Saturday. A few more showers and storms trying to pop up for us on Sunday, but generally pretty warm temperatures for most of the Midwest. One of the coolest spots is Milwaukee with only a high of 79.
Well, good Friday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchan. We'll look at our forecast across the region, starting off with some scattered showers and thunderstorms once again by the afternoon. We'll continue with variably to mostly cloudy skies, showers and thunderstorms, 80s for highs, even some 70s, 80s and 90s where we have more sunshine. That's a bargain for late July. And then the weekend, again, a chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. New Orleans to San Antonio, Little Rock, even around Dallas with highs in the 80s and 90s.
Well, hi there and a happy Friday morning to everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, we're talking about building heat again over the interior mountainous region. Let me try that again. Okay, here we go in 3, 2. Well, hi there and a good Friday morning to everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Just 60s around the Bay Area and San Francisco because of the fog in the Golden Gate versus 111 out of Phoenix, the Valley of the Sun living up to its scorching name. Boise cooling into the 90s, which is a nice change of pace here late in the week. Thunderstorms blowing up from the Four Corners into parts of Idaho, thanks to that monsoonal moisture. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Heat and snow are mostly associated with summer and winter, but meteorologist Brett Luna explains why lightning is something that is not confined to certain corners of the calendar.
One thing you got to be mindful of year-round is lightning. Each year across the country, thunderstorms produce 20 to 25 million cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. These strikes kill 20-plus people per year and injure hundreds more, usually in devastating and permanent ways. Lightning can strike 10 miles away from the parent storm, so if you start to hear thunder, the best thing that you can do is just get indoors. The most lightning-related deaths happen while people are at the beach or fishing, boating, camping, farming, things like that. Out of all the months in the year, too, July is ranked #1 for the most deaths caused by lightning. One interesting fact about lightning, the temperature of the air in the lightning channel can reach 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun.
And we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here on Monday.